and your pool is now, because it's, well, if you're using 10%,
it's
it's from
expanding the
50 to
pool,
60. It's
yeah.
expanding the pool.
And the
so the
ages,
pool's
too.
getting big,
Yeah,
correct?
that
And
was
the
one
ages
part.
are getting bigger, and so
Because now it's like
Yeah, 10%
where you had
more
a
and
pool,
10,
your
it's actually
division might have been,
10% from
you
the-
know, 9 and 10-year-olds and 11 and 12.
Well,
Well, now you can have a 9 and a 10-year-old wrestling each other when you had them in different divisions.
Guys, think about it like this.
Right.
Think about it like this. You have a kid in 4th grade that's born on January 1st, and a kid in 5th grade who's born on December 31st, and that matchup isn't happening because of our current system. So we're generating so many more potential matchups.
Is there,
But-
is there a cap to the age group, or is
That's
it
gonna help.
just keep the viability?
Yeah, I don't know. Does that make
no,
any
it's a
sense?
percentage.
Whatever I want it to be.
It's the birthdays.
Whatever I want it to be, but the more kids we get, the smaller we can actually make those numbers. So if we had a tournament with 1,000 people, we could make those numbers really small and everyone will still be able to get matches. The big numbers, like the idea of having a 20% age gap, is really only for the outliers, or like let's say 20% weight. If we're gonna go that high, that's only for that 150-pound kid who you have nobody to wrestle. Okay, we'll put him against the 130-pound kid. But the other guys aren't going to be going. It won't happen.
Right.
Any questions before we move on and talk about the partnership stuff and the pricing?
Do you, just go back to the logistics of running the thing. Do you come with a team of people? Like someone's doing the,
So yeah,
The
we're
registrations
gonna
up front?
we're gonna figure that out. Like one of the things I'm gonna bring up later is that I want referees to be mandatory. I know every club likes to use their high school guys because then their club makes more money and it makes sense for the individual school. But for the sport as a whole, it doesn't make sense. It's not a good look for us. Let's use real referees. So there's gonna be some things that are like standardized and important. I have a whole team of like young, hungry Brentwood kids that have been doing it with me and would be glad to help out at these events. But you could also use your own high school guys. That their job at the computer is super simple. They just have to click a button. It may be better to use our guys because they're trained and like know how to behave professionally, but we'll see as time goes on.
someone's doing registration and then you're at the help desk?
I'm at the help desk. Registration is all going to happen online. We will take walk-ins and we will be able to accept cash if we have to. But most of the things will
But we gotta check in as they come in the door, we gotta confirm their weight and we gotta check them in.
That's the guy at the weigh-ins. So here's the staff right now. The staff, we have one person at the door doing admissions, just charging $5 for spectators to come in. Then we have, and they're also directing the wrestlers to go over to weigh-ins. We're weighing in 60 pounds and under. We have 1 or 2 people sitting with scales, depending on how many wrestlers we have, that are typing their name in. They step on the scale, they type their weight in. As soon as they click submit weigh-in, they're now eligible to wrestle. If they tried to wrestle before, then it wouldn't work. But now all of a sudden they can get into the pairing pool. Okay? Should we move on or? Okay. So the level of partnership, there's 2 levels of partnerships that I have for you guys. The first one is for everyone. I want all teams to be part of this. I believe that wrestling tournaments should be fundraisers for every team, not just the team holding the event. So for every match completed by one of your wrestlers, we're going to give your organization back $2.50. The cost of a match, the standard cost is going to be $10 per match. That's kind of what it is right now on Long Island. So 25% of the revenue will go back to your program. If Kings Park over the course of the season, if all their wrestlers end up doing 1,000 matches, you guys will get a $2,500 check at the end of the year. The only thing you'll have to do is fill out a W-9 form for tax purposes, so that way I can, report where the money's going to. And we're willing to give that to any size team, so long as there's like a few kids. We don't want a parent being like, it's my team, and just only paying $7.50 a match. If they've got, say, 5 kids, that's fine. If you guys only complete 5 matches, I'll write you a check for $12.50 at the end of the year. We want you guys to be part of it. I don't want it to be like mine and I'm squeezing Long Island. I want to grow Long Island wrestling. Any questions about that?
So this is all going to be on top of the fees for the tournaments.
So if we're paying $80.
No, you're getting it.
No, but say the Hop Hog runs a tournament and it's $40 to get into the tournament.
There's
Just
no,
on top of it.
No,
That's big.
registration.
there's no, the tournament is free. The matches are what cost money. So you're gonna, let me.
No, but I know what he's saying. You're saying like Hop Hog's gonna run their tournament like Hop Hog runs their tournament. No, Hop Hog's gonna run their tournament as a war tournament.
Oh, so you're just taking it all, okay.
So
Yeah, that's not gonna be the
I'll
old way.
I'll explain that in part two.
If they want to, otherwise they could run their own tournament. You know, do whatever they want.
Is Lenders doing this war
I think we're
tournament?
gonna do this. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and is Blue Wave gonna do this, Tom?
Possibly, yeah.
I think that's terrific.
So the,
We're doing two.
As long as it's not my way. Oh, no.
oh boy.
I'm not starting, I'm doing.
No,
Guys, I'm going to-
we're gonna have officials, regular officials. U.S. Wrestling, right?
I like it.
USA Wrestling.
Alright, gentlemen, let me continue. So the level 2 partnership is for teams that wanna host events. And here's how that's gonna work. Teams that host events are going to be paid $10 per completed match. The breakdown is of the matches. Assuming that they pay $10 per match, it's gonna be $2.50 to our organization, which we're gonna use to pay for medals and other different things. $2.50 back to the host team, and the remaining $5 goes to the program hosting, times 2 because there's 2 wrestlers. I said we're basing it off $10 a match, but a lot of people are going to be able to pay less than that because we're going to have discounts for people that buy a season worth of matches. So,
Let me ask you another question, as far as medals, going back to. But typically, you hand out a medal, the kid wins a bracket, or a round robin pool, whatever it is. Now you don't have that. So, is there a way of, listen, you won 3 matches,
we could do that, and I just don't know if that's what we want to do. We're definitely going to give them the medal for winning their first match. I like the idea of the ticket system, of they can now win what they want to win. You know, could we do it that way? We could make it so that way, like, if you win 2 matches, you get the bronze for the day. If you win 4, you get the silver. If you win 6, you get the gold. Like,
might encourage kids to
wrestle more.
to stay for 4 or 5 matches till they won 3, you know, or whatever it is.
Well, that's going to be our job. All of us, we're going to try to figure out ways to just get these kids wrestling as much as possible.
But the other thing is, when they're paying $10 a match, then it becomes, instead of a $30 tournament, it's a $50 tournament.
Well, I think it's going to depend on that family. What's good about it is that the low-income families can still afford it. The low-income families can still wrestle, do their 3 matches, but the high-income families that just want to watch their kid wrestle and don't wait around, that's going to be so much more revenue that we're going to get now. Because I definitely on my team have dads that'll spend $70, $80 and just keep pumping their kid out. I have a bunch of them. I've also got, you know, kids that don't have a lot of money, and you know, I'm sure plenty of us are going to be using our fundraising money to put back into our wrestlers.
What's the, so the average number, say for instance, the kid gets there, gets 3 matches. The host club, what is he gonna generate back to the club?
So the hosting club is going to get $10 per completed match. So if you are, let's say you run an event and you do 600 matches for the day, you guys will make a $10,000 check that we will issue to you. Plus you'll make, I think we should standardize the entry to the event at $5. Do you guys think that's a fair number?
Well, that was my question. Who's gonna be in charge of door money, food money,
You
apparel
guys
money?
are.
Okay.
The hosting club gets the door and they get the food and concessions.
Right.
I don't know what we're gonna do about merchandise because I think we might want like a league merchandise. This season, you guys can do whatever you like as far as the merch is concerned, but I probably will plan on making the organization.
The merchandise, I mean, for me at least, it's not a big
No,
big income, not a big revenue.
Jason,
To make a couple $100.
so it's $10 a match to the host, or it's $5?
$5 per
$2.50 or
wrestler.
$2.50?
$5 per wrestler.
$5 per wrestler.
$10 a match.
So $10
Well,
a match.
$10.
So you're gonna get $5 per match back to the host.
If you
Yeah.
see the breakdown of
Well,
revenue
yeah, the
per
match is
wrestler per
$20
match.
though.
That's-
10
that's
and
just-
10.
you're getting
Yes.
That's
No.
the gross is 10 and 10, which is $20.
Okay, right, right.
It's right, gross, but you're netting.
I'm just making
10.
sure, cause
Right.
schools charge a lot of money now.
Well, if
Well,
it's,
guys, it might make it may make more sense for us to use the private venues. I'm using private venues because it's so much red tape.
Right.
The schools are cheaper, but it's like I'll save $1,000, but it'll cost me 40 hours to get all the stuff. I really want to use Brentwood. They'll give me the gym really cheap, but I have to buy the insurance first before they even tell me if the date's available. And it's like,
Yeah, it's that sports arena, they charge a lot for that over there, or?
they do and they don't. I'm paying about $2,000 right now, but that's because I'm not getting the cream of the crop of it. I'm not choosing. I'm a beggar there. It's like this is what I've got left.
Right.
If I wanted to do it, like the problem with with some of these venues is, their soccer is dominating them in the season
Yeah.
and they're tough to get. One of the other like kind of stupid things from an operations point for wrestling is all these places are super cheap in the summertime. In the summertime and the springtime, it's like they can't get any business, and we're an indoor sport. So I mean, it is what it is, but
there's not a lot going on though, as far as, you know, the high school kids, maybe, the younger kids, kind of, they were off and
It
stuff.
don't
They
fit,
really-
summertime, you know,
Yeah,
all
it's
this
not-
is
not a
supposed
lot
to
of
mellow out,
activity,
you know?
yeah.
You're going
Wind
all
down.
year round.
Yeah.
Yep.
You need
You know, I
time.
don't wanna encourage kids to wrestle crazy in the summer. That's just me, you know, I don't.
well, right now,
I did
we
the,
can't because there's the beginners dry up after states, and then if it doesn't matter if you want to wrestle, if you're a beginner, you can't. It's not going to be good for you anymore. Now you're in the
Now
deep
you're
end.
getting beat up.
Yeah. And I mean, we may start changing the culture a little bit. I would like to see our season extend a little longer because that's what we're up against. Lacrosse, soccer, those other sports, they're indoctrinating the kids and the parents. At the youngest age, the 5 and 6 year olds, those parents are looking to try new things and experiment, see what their kids like. You look at the 12, how many guys get new 12-year-olds in droves? It just doesn't happen. They already know what they do. I'm a soccer player. I got all my soccer gear. I have soccer practice 4 times a week. It's like we were too late.
Yeah, you get the third graders come in hundreds.
Yeah.
Second, third, fourth grade, they all wanna show up.
And we're up against these year-round sports now.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think we should be necessarily pushing every kid to wrestle 6 days a week year-round. But to have some wrestling engagement, I don't think would be a terrible thing. You know, you run your program pretty long, right?
Yeah. We go pretty much from November, the beginning of November, all the way to end of school.
Yeah. See, that's
Yeah,
There's not
then
too
the
many
summer,
events,
the
though,
fall
for
kind of
them.
work a little bit.
at that point. Correct? There's not too many events for them at that point?
There's not too many events for them, you know. It's a small group, but whoever wants to show up, just keep showing them, you know.
Yeah.
We might go from, you start with 100, then you're down to 60, then you're down to, by the states, like around, 50, 40, and then through the spring you got like 20, you know. But
How many new kids do you guys get like every year? Like how many? I want to know what we're losing. How many guys that they come for 1 year and that's it?
At the kid level?
Yeah.
I would say maybe like quarter percent of them,
15 to 20%.
20% maybe-ish.
Great.
A lot of them come and they start, and then by, before the season's halfway through, they stop, but then they come back again next year.
Yeah.
That happens a lot too.
I think it'll also be like a big cultural thing. If it becomes more popular, it just is like a self-feeding loop. You know, if other kids are talking about wrestling, and I've noticed that in the districts that I'm in, it's like especially in Comac with the 5-year-old group, it's just been, I keep getting new little kids because they're all talking about it. It doesn't happen as much at like the 12-year-old age, but the 5 and 6-year-olds.
Yeah, they wanna do what their friends are doing.
Well, just to back up a second too, Tommy was saying about the money. I did quick math on this, and this works out pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, it does. If you take an average amount of kids, me and Jason did it last week, take an average amount of kids, maybe 200, 250 kids for the day, which is kind of a small number.
Everybody to support
And
each
you
other.
give them an
to
average
get
of
the
like
kids.
4 matches,
You gotta get
which
to
is
200.
very possible they should all get 4 matches. The numbers work out pretty
Good.
good.
You guys are gonna make less money per match this way, but we're gonna make a lot more matches. We add the beginners and we add the dads who can pay more. I think it'll more than cover it. That's the plan. And we'll, after one season, we'll see. You guys can always, go revert.
Here's the trade-off, is the fact that this idea of moving that pool of wrestling throughout the day and dropping the lighter guys and adding heavier guys, at continuation of that process, means that people are going to get more matches in a shorter period of time, so the end result for the parent and the kid is a better experience.
Yes.
In the past, we tried to do that to some extent, okay? If you guys remember, it was everybody showed up at the beginning of the day and there were like 3-hour gaps between their 3 matches that they get. Then we said, all right, we're gonna break it up. We're gonna have bantams and the little guys in the morning and the older guys in the afternoon. So we cut the day down to 4 hours, and now it was like every hour and a half or so they were getting their third match. Now they're gonna be able to get their 3 matches in an hour and 15 minutes, and if they want to stay more and they want to wrestle 5 or 6 times, they're going to be able to do that in a 2.5-hour period. So it's much better. And if they showed up, here's the even better part: if they're in the bathroom or they're in the cafeteria, or they're like, oh crap, I want to go out and go to the car for something, we're not tracking them down because their phone, they're getting a text message going, Johnny's up on mat 3. Oh crap,
He's on
Johnny,
deck.
put
We'll
your
have
hot
time
dog down. Let's go.
We'll
We're
have
up.
time to get there and stuff. It'll
Yeah.
be like a
Correct.
triple deck or
The
something.
goal is to have 3. It has to do with the number of wrestlers in the mats. But right now, assuming that we have 60 kids at a time on 6 mats, we can do double deck. So 1 wrestling and then 2 in the hole.
So one thing I just wanna say, what I like, and I don't like everything, but one thing I like too is the fact that we're gonna have data on all the kids. So I'm looking at it from USA Wrestling standpoint, and because we do have the counties where we have specific weight classes and we crown a county champ, right? And we have the Super Regional State, but now, through his system, with the data, we can have a little bit more accurate when it comes to seeding kids and that kind of stuff. So we haven't, all we went for in the past was what they placed last year, and if they placed last year when they were in the younger age division, there was a little bit of ambiguity, right? But now if we have it standardized with the data, we can have accurate ratings of the kids, so that might aid us in.
You can use that for the counties.
For the
and
counties,
cities
and, like.
and
sort of
upward
power.
from there. you know?
Yeah, I
The
think it's a
data
good
will
thing.
all be available and readable. So you guys, it's going to be something that people can just log in. They're not going to know anything about the kid other than his name, his match history, and what his rating is. But you guys will be able to, parse the data and use it however you
For
like.
seeding.
You have a kickoff date for your kickoff?
So right now, I wanted to talk to everyone first, but we think we're going to use the Kings Park tournament to run our kickoff, which is December 14th. And that's another thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about is, it might not make sense for this year, but next year, we should all be on the same page for when season starts. We can end at different times if you want your team to keep going, or we'll say we'll go as far as this long, but we should all really start and aim so that way we don't want our kids to have an unfair advantage over the other teams. We want all the teams to be matching up, because we just want to see them wrestle. I mean, that's the truth. Does anyone really care that their youth team is the #1 in the state? Like, is it super important to anyone here?
I think some of the kids care.
The kids care,
Well, there's
and
no
we
way to
want
say.
them, and we want
But that's the
them
only
to
thing with
care.
this, it's not really a tournament, right? There's no
Well,
there's no winner.
There's
no-
going to be
No,
leaderboards.
regular tournaments is not team score anyway.
Right.
We're
But
going to have
there's
team
it-
score.
But I'm saying, previous
Well,
ones, we
there's
never
nothing,
kept
yeah.
team score, really. Well, some of them did.
And you can't even compare the clubs. I mean, like, you can't compare
you
your
can't.
club to my club.
You'll beat us. Right now, you got more kids.
It doesn't matter. No, I'm not. I'm talking about on a head-to-head competition, not on points and stuff.
We-
I'm talking about
We
your
want
club
the
is
competition.
a travel club.
Yes.
So you in any competition, you're gonna beat my club.
But we want it to be more like a dangling carrot to get the kids to just wrestle, right?
Yeah,
If
no,
your
I know
guys
what
are
we're going
wrestling,
for.
we're
So
pretty
that's
much
not what
yeah.
you're saying though. That's not even part of the picture
no.
of who's a
That was
best
my-
team
that was
or
my
anything
point.
like that.
Yes.
I do think that, like, the kids need to work towards a medal or something.
Yeah, there's gotta be
And
something.
you gotta give them
Right.
something going out the door.
So you guys
So
don't like the ticket system.
I just feel that they're going to these things to, I know from, Mike, I don't know, they're going there not just get match.
But you don't, do you
Who's
think?
got, let me just
I
ask
like
a
your
quick
ticket
question.
system,
Who's got kids that went through this and now are, you know, out of high school, that have wrestled through the youth system and out of high school? Right, I know you, right. Okay, let me ask you a question, cause I know what I got. I got a box of freaking medals that is sitting in there that my son won and they did.
I get
Now,
that.
now,
box of medals.
Where
Right.
was they
You have
when
to
they
watch the
got
confidence.
them?
Do we want those
Hanging on
medals?
the wall, they were very proud of those
Here's
medals.
what I wanna know.
My kids are proud of those
Would
medals.
your,
That day,
would
yes.
your kid prefer, I know they're proud of those medals,
And I'll
but
be-
would he prefer,
He lives in the day. He is not worrying about what he's gonna
Yeah,
get.
but
to eat for dinner.
that's a problem
I
with,
don't- I
that's a
don't know.
problem with us as a society. Let me tell
That's
you,
subjective.
let me ask you a
That's
question.
subjective,
Would your
though.
kid, would your kid
I'm
rather
being
have,
honest.
would your kid rather have gotten a medal at every tournament that he went to, or at the end of the season got an Xbox?
It depends on the age. Yeah, that's true.
I'm not saying, correct, but if you have an online store, okay?
No, I get it.
If you have an online store, at the end of the tournament,
I got
the
it,
kid
I
can
got,
go buy the medal.
I saw, exactly.
Right.
The kid can go get the
Yeah.
medal from that
The
event.
medal, we'll keep a certain amount of the lower cost stuff on hand, so they can always trade their tickets in for medals if that's what they want. That-
Well, Jason, why don't you do this? I mean, I'm just throwing this out. I mean, in my tournament, it's not a competition tournament. I give the kid a participation medal, every one of them if they want it. They could say, hey, listen, you know, I wrestled at the Lindenhurst tournament, it was a great day, here's my medal, whatever.
Yeah, I mean.
But then
you
for
can
the higher
leave it up to
achievers,
the host-
like, so now you have a
host
guy that
staff.
won for
I
the
mean,
day,
our
he gets
tournament,
a
I'm
shirt.
gonna-
a
I'm
shirt
gonna-
or something,
I'm gonna
right,
buy
something
medals.
better.
I'm not expecting you to buy medals.
Okay,
I'm gonna buy the medals.
The host can supply,
And
might supply them anyway.
Sure.
My rules are gonna be, you win three matches, you get a medal.
let's do both then.
Cause you could
I'll
do, what you
handle
could do is,
Let's do
I'll
both.
give everybody
Let's
a
do
medal
both
anyway.
then. If you guys think that'll be a nice little thing that you guys can add in, and I'll also be the credit card rewards points guy.
well, why don't you do, why don't you do the host? The host gives everybody a participation medal.
Yep.
And you give out your war award, whatever that is, a t-shirt, a singlet, or whatever, for
That's my one.
the kids that excelled for the day, or the kids that excelled for the,
I'm most excited
you know what I'm
about,
saying? The guy that won the most matches, the top 5 guys that won the most matches, you got a shirt, a singlet, whatever.
so most matches or biggest upset, like the guy who beat the guy who was 400 points above him. There's a couple different cool things that we can make happen which would be exciting for kids.
But remember, when you start to look at overall awards, and this is one of the things I brought up to Jason earlier, you've got people that showed up at 8 o'clock in the morning at the start of the event, right? They wrestle for 2 hours. What are they gonna do? They've done at 10. Are they gonna wait around to watch all the other guys until
No,
4 o'clock to do that?
That's why I say, if you won 3 matches,
Well,
you
that's,
get a
but
medal.
no. But when you start to go to these big cumulative things, let's say I won 6 matches. It's 10 o'clock. You know, I was a 48 pounder. I hammered everybody.
You
Do I
got double
gotta-
tickets on the day.
I'm getting great tickets to go cash in, but if I'm waiting for event stuff that you're giving me at that event, I gotta wait till the end of the
We
event
gotta
to
be
get
able to
it.
notify you about it later.
Or
Right.
what if you do,
The other
what if you do
thing is, Jason-
percentages? You want, hey, listen, if you win 75% of your matches today, you get a t-shirt from
Well,
War,
no, that's,
you know?
You want them to wait around.
So that they can get it when they're
that's
done.
that's the idea of,
I know.
if you win 2 matches, you get this, if you win 4 matches, you get this. And then you can just give it to whatever you
When they're
want.
done, they take
Or I
it,
like
they
your
leave
idea,
it.
just give everybody a medal. And then let them go into, or get their awards at the end, after the event's over.
But you're right.
And then
You're
you do,
right.
you can do yearly awards when the whole season's over. Those are the grand champions and
You
stuff.
get, you get so many points, you get an Xbox, you get a bike, you
You
get
can
whatever
bang
you
on
want.
Xbox out there, forget about it.
Yeah.
You have a little award ceremony.
Get back
Money maker.
Just for the freestyle.
Everybody in it.
Alright, guys, I'm
I'll tell you
gonna
when I should lose.
I'm gonna keep moving on because I'm almost done, and then we can just have a conversation. So what we're gonna do with our share of the profits, I really wanna watch Long Island Wrestling grow. So in addition to doing the marketing for these events, Facebook and stuff like that, I would like to spend some money on wide-scale marketing of the sport of wrestling to kids who don't wrestle and to parents of non-wrestlers. No club by itself can do that. You guys, you advertise to your local area, people do it to their local area. I would finally, in my position, be incentivized to do something island-wide. And what that could allow me to do, like, I can put an advertisement out at Duck Stadium. I can do, like, it may pay off to do something like that. Nobody's ever done that before, not to my knowledge at least.
And then when they inquire, you can direct them to the local participating
Exactly.
clubs.
Exactly.
Oh, you're over there by Blue Wave, you go over there, you're by Lindenhurst.
Advertising on like Sky Zone, those stuff like
Yes.
that, all.
There's a big initiative though, you know, for those of you who don't know, I sit on the board of the Friends of Long Island Wrestling. And there's a big initiative going on with Wrestling Takes Down Drugs. And the big thing right now they're doing, everybody hears about the opioid crisis and everything that's going on with that. It's a big push. I mean, Trump was talking about it the other day. This Wrestling Takes Down Drugs, right now, every program that's out there right now is a reactive type of program. It's what happens when my kid gets on drugs. And when you start to talk about drugs, and they start to talk about drugs in the school systems, they're talking about drugs. They're starting in the middle schools now, and they're getting some reaction. But the reality is, if we can address drugs with kids when they're in 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, in their formative years, and they get this idea that drugs are a bad thing and I don't want to take part of it, it really takes, it's that ounce of prevention, pound of cure type of thing. It really takes hold with them at that age group. And this idea of Wrestling Takes Down Drugs is the idea that when you're an athlete, when you're a wrestler specifically, everything about wrestling is non-drug taking. You cannot perform well as a wrestler if you're taking opioids.
Are you bringing that up because you think that that is a good angle to use the campaign to approach non-wrestling families?
I'm bringing that as that's another avenue. There's lots of aspects of why we want to get wrestling out to people. That's just another reason why, if you can get kids involved with, and I'm going to say any sport for the most part, but the reality is wrestling is one of the only sports that's 24/7. You know, we've all been a part of it. When practice ends at basketball, you leave the gym, or you leave after lacrosse or whatever, and you go do whatever you want to do. Wrestling's the only sport when you leave practice, you're like, oh crap, I gotta go run, or I can't eat this, or I've gotta eat that, or it's a lifestyle, correct. It is a lifestyle. So it's all encompassing in your entire life. And there is no place in that lifestyle for drugs to be a good wrestler. And when we start bringing that home, that message home to kids, and parents are like, well, gee, how do I keep my kids from doing drugs? This is a good avenue to get them done. Specifically because of the culture of, when you're done, when you leave here, you've got to keep, wrestling's always on your mind.
Anti-drugs, successful in life, bully prevention,
Health and fitness.
health and fitness. There's so many different ways that we can approach that, and that's what I would like to spend the money. I want to try it at least. If I end up throwing away $10,000, I won't do it again, but we'll see if we can generate some more, and I think that would benefit all of us. Okay, so just gonna summarize the benefits real quick. It's fun and safe for all skill levels, even complete beginners and first timers can complete. Right now, I've had a kid in my club for 6 months sitting in the waiting room, will not try wrestling. His older brother wrestles, he's a 2nd grader. Won't try it, won't try it, won't try it. After 6 months, we held a demonstration event, like where there were other kids and he was watching his brother. We were able to talk him in, he wouldn't do a practice, but he would do a match. He pinned the first kid, pinned the second kid, got pinned by the third kid, all out of breath, still had a smile on his face. He's been to every practice, well, a lot of practices since then. He's a wrestler now. So some kids are more interested in the match. It's a little bit more engaging for them. It'll keep the entire experience down to less than 2 hours. The kids spend time engaged and less time waiting around, and the parents don't complain about how much that sucked. You can invite grandma, and grandma doesn't have to wait around for 4 hours because it's going to happen. And there's lots of additional revenue that we're going to generate because you can wrestle in as many matches as you like. The coaches, we're all going to be talking about get more, and the majority of the market is beginners. So if we open it up to the majority of the market, do you have a question?
Yeah, I do. So my event's December 9th, and you want to do the kickoff at Kings Park. So we're not gonna be able to run the war zone then?
No, we're open to discussion here, guys. That,
We can do it there.
if you guys,
No, I'm just,
Doesn't matter who
Yeah, it
does it.
doesn't
no, I
matter.
just wanna, I'd like to get,
I was gonna say, isn't the icebreaker before that?
it is, we
Hence
well,
the icebreaker.
would be really, make sense to have the kickoff if we can, even before my tournament.
Yeah,
Yes.
the sooner the better,
But-
this way you get the
but I,
ratings.
but I need, that's the next thing on the list.
Who's running, you know what, Huntington is looking to run the tournament on December second.
December 2nd.
Did he book it yet?
We won't be ready for that. No.
He sanctioned it.
Maybe we can use that, because he's not really ready for a tournament anyway, it's the
So-
first time out of the box.
So
We
here's,
won't have our kids in the room,
We're
right?
not ready for that.
That'd be good, because
That's-
you're gonna run it like a pro, you don't have to do anything.
that's the main thing.
You guys been.
Who will have the kids in the room at that time? Next year, guys, we have to get on the
That's right.
system.
Yeah, we had that
I'll have
same-
kids there. I'll have
My
kids
kids
come.
did not like.
Most of them, you're gonna, when do you
We
start?
start the middle of November. Yeah, I'll be there.
I gotta sign up
It
on the
might
6th
make,
of
it might
November.
also make sense for us, like, I think the takedown ratings event is gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think it might be more fun because the kid's gonna be wrestling every 3 or 4
When
minutes.
do they go in the room?
Instead of every
When the
15
kids start?
We're
So
starting early
we
this
may
year.
do two.
November
you know.
30th. 28th.
So you wanna reach
Yeah,
out, should I reach out to him?
And that's early.
That's
For us, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
We go
oh,
a week before
let's
Thanksgiving.
finish the night first and then we'll figure out
Someone's
what
gotta
to do.
sacrifice.
Some of the kids down there?
Do a takedown tournament.
It's not gonna benefit the new wrestler.
Right.
The whole purpose of that takedown part was for the beginner, right?
Well, we could do more than one of those, though. That was my point. So we could do one at the beginning of the season. We could do a regular event, and then we could do one another week later. Who knows which one they'll like better? They may like that one better.
You still gonna charge, like, you know, for the matches and everything?
Well, it'll be different if we do that. So maybe we'll do